goodness. Hello. How are you? How is everybody doing tonight? I'm doing great. It is Monday. Freaking, I don't know in New York. I don't know about in Jersey, but in New York, we had like a sun shower sort of situation and a nice rainbow came out afterwards. I know not very Misfitsy for our Misfits themed show tonight. This show is actually a long time in the remaking, and I'm so glad that we're finally doing it. It's so great. We actually had Frank on very recently because we did a tribute to Manny Martinez, who passed away, R.I.P. Manny. And Frank was kind enough to give us some time and sort of wax poetic about his former bandmate. Let me get some skulls in the comments, by the way. We need your skulls. We want to hang them on our wall. That would be good. And let's start the show the right way, the proper way. I hope Frank doesn't make fun of me too much for this. He probably will, but I'm going to do it anyway. We got to start it off the proper way. This one's for you, Rue Morgue, who's watching right now. This one's for you. We're going to start the show off with the Frumess Misfits theme song.
Jeff is gonna talk about the Misfits right now. He's a nerd about this stuff, obsessed anyhow. Jeff never shuts his face, always needs to talk. Might miss him somewhere if he went out for a walk. Do you think Danzig cares? He doesn't care. He's out in ranch.
All right, I am so scared to bring Frank out from. He's gonna make so much fun of me. I just have a feeling. I'm terrified. Whatever. Let's just do it. It's like ripping off a Band-Aid. You just gotta tense your face and pull it off. So we're gonna do that. All right. Without further ado, let's bring out Franche Coma, who the static gauge guitarist. He's waiting backstage in the digital green room. Frank,
what's up?
How you doing?
I'm good. Franche.
What do you mean? Well, who's Frank? I don't know who Frank is.
Never heard of him.
Never heard of him. How you doing? You doing good?
I'm good. You want me to go get my sunglasses so I look like you?
No, that's up to you. I was telling him. I said Jim did the same thing. He was making fun. These guys like to make fun of me because I wear my sunglasses in a dark basement when it's day outside. It's very weird. Very, very weird. This is long overdue. Welcome back to the show. You are here in the flesh. Before we get started, I actually kind of want to talk to you about, before we like go back in time and talk about all that stuff people want to hear about. And by the way, depending on how much time we have, if people want to ask questions later on, maybe we'll do a little Q&A sort of thing afterwards. Question, you are working on, what are you working on right now? Is there anything that you have cooking in this moment in time?
Yeah, basically we have a band together. I have a band together right now.
Tell me a little bit about that.
We are, there should be some news heading out there shortly and some shows. Right now we're in the studio.
That's cool. And you just sort of rehearsing and practicing stuff.
We're in the rehearsal studio right behind me. That's here.
Yeah, there you go.
My house. But we're in the recording studio now at Michael J. Studios in Montville, New Jersey.
That's great. Listen, the key to a good band is practice, right? You got to practice.
But we're in the, like I said, yes, absolutely. Practice. And like I said, we're in the studio recording right now.
That's great.
As we speak.
What has the recording process been like for you guys? Like just in general, have you had songs kind of like already sketched out, or are you sort of feeling it out in the studio space? Like how is that?
No, we have a full set. We're ready to go. We're ready to play. We're recording. Things are done.
That's great. That is fantastic. That is fantastic news. I'm so glad to hear it. How many guitars do you have in total? Because I'm looking behind you. I'm seeing all these guitars. Oh my God.
Quite a bit. I set up a little display for you.
Oh my God.
Next to the fan over there, I got 3 Explorers, 71 Les Paul, owned by Les Paul, plus whatever else is hanging out back there.
What's your favorite guitar to play?
Usually this Explorer right here.
That's the go-to.
The Gibson or the Marvin, and also that black Marvin up on the wall is really nice guitar too.
Is there
the Les Paul? I like, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guitars I choose from. There's 2 Les Pauls, 3 Explorers, and that 1 Marvin.
You know, you're blessed, Frank. You're blessed. You're a blessed man. You have a beautiful big family, and you have a beautiful big family of guitars. I mean,
yes.
you're a blessed guy. You're
Thank you.
Thank you. That's what it ultimately comes down to.
Yes.
Before you play guitar, is there anything that, like, even back in the day or even now, whatever, is there anything that you do to kind of like warm up when you're going to play guitar, like personally?
Personally, I like to play a little bit before I go, before I play. It takes me, I need about, the longer the better, but, 10, 15 minutes.
Sure.
Especially doing the type of music that we do, which isn't relatively on the slower side, if you will. Just getting out there and starting, you need to be a little bit loose.
Sure.
It's like anything else, you got to stretch.
Like anything else, you got to stretch. It's John Christ from Danzig. He said the same thing about he didn't want to be too rehearsed, but he didn't want to be too loose. He wanted to be somewhere in the middle where his fingers knew where to find their places on the board. What got you into guitar in the first place? Like what set you? Were you always set on the guitar? Was there anything before the guitar? Like what made you go, okay, guitar is for me?
Basically, I don't know. That's all. I just like the instrument pretty much. That's pretty much it. And so I want to learn to play the guitar. There are a lot of there were a lot of guitar players, and there probably still are around these in the woods. But there used to be a real lot for sure.
Right.
I'll play the guitar. Some of my friends played the guitar, so I was just, all right, I'll play the guitar.
Well, there were a lot.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I'm sorry. But there was there was a pool. There was a pool.
The king is here. I want you to know.
Okay, king is here. We'll salute the king. We'll salute the king.
Is here. Look at that.
That's great. See that? Did you see the movie? That? What did you think of the movie?
It was all right.
The one that came out with Tom Hanks.
It was good. It was okay.
I liked it. I thought it was okay. I thought it was okay. I thought he did a good. He did. Yes, he is
watching us and listening.
The king is always.
That's right.
The king is always with us.
If I could turn the computer, he's over there too. But anyway, go ahead. Finish your question.
No, you like back then, like a long time ago, like back in the day, like in New Jersey in the 70s and whatnot, and in Bergen County, there seemed to be there was a large pool of musicians kind of playing, right?
Yeah, and I think we had this conversation somewhat in leading in this direction. Although we lived in Lodi from Bergen County, and yes, there were a lot of players, and I'll say it once more, we were not a Lodi Bergen County band. As I said, we were a New York band. So that's the scene we fit in with. Nothing against the guys from Lodi. They're all my friends, you know what I mean? And there were others from Lodi fitting into the same scene as we were. But most of the guys that were really from here were doing different things. And that was their scene, which was cool. Our scene, we're a New York band, and that's where we were.
What Franche is referring to, by the way, just in case for anybody who does not know, some of you are probably familiar with what we're referring to. Along with previous guests on the show, there's always some debate as to were the Misfits a New York band or a New Jersey band, and often they get kind of pigeonholed as a New Jersey band because they come from Lodi. However, what I have always argued, and Mr. Jim has also backed this up, as you've now heard Franche Coma say, what I have always proposed is that, Bergen County is really a suburb of New York City, even though it's in a different state. It is right outside of New York City. And when you are a band looking to break out into the scene or, going out and playing in New York City, that even though you're across the water, that still makes you a New York band. The Misfits were absolutely a New York band, at least as I look at it from a historian perspective, retroactively. And here is a member of said band concurring such sentiment from his own words.
This is true.
There you go. 10
miles from New York.
10 miles from New York. And, the traffic though. I mean, did you ever
Back then we didn't have to worry much about it. It was no big deal. It was
Really?
50 cents or $1 to get in. We had $5 between the four of us. That was the toll, gas, and flour to make paste to hang posters.
Yeah, let's talk about that. That's something I have in my notes. Guys, I have notes here. I'm just going to jump around all willy-nilly. Tell me about what is that about? Because I feel like there's a lot of people that do not understand or would not, especially in the age of the internet and like Facebook, like do not understand the how important, let alone what the concept is of needing. Why would you need flour? What does flour have to do with being in a band? Like, explain that.
So let's assume you're playing, I don't know, Friday or Saturday. Today's Monday. Let's assume you're playing Friday or Saturday night. Probably Wednesday or Thursday, you'd have your posters, the Misfits, Max's, Kansas City, wherever you're playing. Okay. Whatever it says on the poster. Maybe it's, I don't know, 20 by 30, something like that, whatever, 20 by 28, whatever it is.
Big. That's big.
You would need to go into New York where all these billboards are on these bus stops and all these various places where there's advertisement on the walls. Now you would go there and I don't know, one area you might plaster up 25 posters. What is that flour? You had like a spackle bucket, a 5-gallon bucket. Now, if we didn't have water with it, which we hardly ever did, we'd have to go borrow it from somebody's spigot, mix it with the flour, which would make like a paste, and then have a paintbrush, paint it on the wall, and then put your poster up on the wall. But you would put 25, 30, 20 all on one wall. And chances are you could put that up at 10 o'clock tonight. Maybe by 12:30 a.m., somebody else put posters over you as you did over somebody else. So you had to keep, we probably did it, I believe, the 2 nights before the show because they wouldn't be there much longer because other bands were doing the same thing.
So it was really like kind of a war just to literally stay on top.
Yeah, kind of. But no, I mean, there was no hostility amongst different bands out there. Usually you just move on to the next stop if another band was there and say, okay, wait till they're done, then we'll go back. And that's what we did.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. And so like this notion of being in a band back then, it's like, hey, I don't have to be good at Photoshop. I have to know how to take flour, mixed paste, climb up really high.
Water.
Sorry?
Flour and water. Yeah, we probably had a ladder now that I think about it too to get a little higher or something to get a little higher. Not like a 40-foot ladder, but like a 6-footer or 4-footer, something to get a little higher. Or somebody was on somebody's shoulders. I can't remember.
So who, first of all, who's the daredevil? Like who's going? Are you
we all were. Whoever.
Yeah.
We all were. Whoever.
Yeah. You gotta be.
It was. Listen, back then isn't like today. There was no social media. I mean, you needed to make a phone call. You had to hope you had a dime in your pocket to make that call to go to a phone booth. There were no cell phones. It's not like today. A lot of people, no offense to this generation or the younger, it's different. It was really cool. It was good. It was different.
You know what's interesting too? You said something. This is a quote from you from a long time ago.
Uh-oh.
No, this is a great quote. You said this back in like 2010, I want to say. You said, and I think it's even more prevalent today. That was 14 years ago. I can't believe that it's been that long since you said that. But you said bands back in the day used to be a dime a dozen, and now they're a penny a dozen. And like, I think that was a really profound statement. And do you think that that's only increased since you made that statement?
It's, you sure I said it about bands or guitar players?
No, you definitely said it about bands.
Okay. Well, right. Bands were very, there were a lot of bands, but has it increased? It's probably, listen, it's definitely held its own if it hasn't increased, but it probably has. But with social media and the way things are done today, it's a bit different. People aren't doing what we did back then. It's not necessary. The way you're going to put things out there like we are now is via social media. Going to your Instagram site, your Facebook site, your MySpace site, whatever the case may be.
So what was it like? So what about just booking the gigs? Like what is required? I'm not saying particularly I'm not saying necessarily what the Misfits did, but what along with like the wheat paste, the idea of like doing this shit with the wheat paste, what did you what was required? How did you go about booking a gig? Like, how do you get a gig at Max's Kansas City? You know,
as far as Max's goes, you know, Glenn knew the people there. He was friends with a gentleman by the name of Terry York. I think that, again, I'm doing this from memory, so I could be a little bit off. So please don't quote me, but I'm 60, 70% there. And through that connection, he made the connections at Max's, you know, and then we'd have one place to play, you know, another place to play. I became friendly in the show place in Dover where we played with Richard Hell and the Voidoids and other bands. I became friendly with Larry up there, and I used to book those shows up there. So listen, not that I'm tooting my own horn, I'm not, or Glenn's, but whoever could get on the phone and book the show, book the show. The biggest thing in the New York area is, I think there was a 6-week break between shows. You're not going to play Max's on the 1st of the month, and then on the 10th of the month go play Irving Plaza. Okay, you needed that 6-week break in between, so you weren't overexposed, and you know, so people come and see you again.
I think that's something that's we were talking about that on the phone one day about trying to figure out some Misfits dates and why they couldn't have possibly been played because of that wait, because you had to have that wait. And
I mean, we could play on a Friday in New York, but we could definitely do Saturday in Jersey. This was a New York 5-borough thing, if you will.
Right. So would you say that was the same though in Jersey? Like if you did play the next night in Jersey, then you'd have that same waiting period, but just for Jersey?
I don't recall it being that way in Jersey, but keep in mind, Jersey, the show place up in Dover was probably one of the only places that was going to allow original bands. You know, then maybe a little while later, Hitsville there where the Misfits played post me. Then there was TJ's West, I think, in Greenwood Lake, where I went to see the Ramones. There were very few places, so you didn't have that. You didn't have that situation out in Jersey at all. But you'd be foolish to book yourself 5 miles away from a Friday to a Saturday. I mean, why?
Sure. Let me
maybe next Saturday.
Let me interject real quick about going to see when you went to go see the Ramones. First of all, were you still in the Misfits when you saw the Ramones, or was this later?
I don't remember. I mean, I saw them quite a few times, but I would say yes. But again, that's just yeah, I think so.
What was your feel like? What was your reaction to seeing the Ramones back then? That kind of music,
the best.
Yeah.
I was going to wear a Ramones shirt tonight, but I didn't. I had it in my hand, but I didn't put it on. The best, still are.
Let me ask you this: how like the Ramones sound, how do you think that sort of like impacted the Misfits sound, considering how things were before you joined the band and then after you joined the band?
It didn't. Let's look at it this way. Jerry played a Rickenbacker. Didi Ramone was playing a P bass, I think, or jazz bass, whatever. I was, different guitars. Johnny Ramone was playing Morse-Right guitars. Okay, just guitar, just for trying to go apples to apples. I was playing my Gibson Explorer, which I worked on a little bit. So sound-wise, that's not why I was going to see them. Let's see what they sound like, and let's see if we could get to sound like them. We had our own sound, and we were very happy with it. And I wouldn't have changed it to sound like another band. Sound like who you are, not who they are. But they were great.
Totally.
Not putting any of them down.
Of course, 100%. You know what's funny about the Static Age songs in general? We're just jumping all over the place here. We're not going in chronological order or anything.
Yeah, I'm going to plug the new band later, just so you know.
Oh, 100%. We're gonna have. You better believe that's gonna happen. We're gonna have what we're gonna do, guys. We're gonna talk a little bit longer, and then we're gonna have like a little commercial break for Riot stickers. He's gonna play a clip of his new band. And then I actually have another surprise that I'm going to play after he plays his surprise. Super quick. It'll be kind of like a small intermission. But I want to talk real quick about Static Age guitar. And I want to talk about the fact that, what's interesting, there's two things that I find really interesting. I mean, that's not true. Maybe it's more than two things, because I feel like there are a lot of drummers that try to sort of they play Static Age songs, but they're not doing what Jim is doing, and I feel to a large extent it's the same with you. And so it's very seldom that covers, a good Misfits cover is kind of hard to come by, because I feel like people kind of take shortcuts. They're not really necessarily kind of, doing what you're doing. And I'm curious to know, like, what is, I guess what I'm asking for Frank right now is, Franche, I'm asking for the secret recipe to the sauce, to the gravy, to the Sunday gravy. What is it that you were doing, or what was your particular approach to your guitar playing in the Misfits? What was your setup? And then we're going to talk a little bit about 138, but I'll leave you with that to start. Go ahead.
A lot of questions and one.
I'll remind you. Don't worry. Okay, go ahead.
So here's the deal. First of all, this was always my motto and a few other friends of mine. Look, if I want to hear and sound like you said, the Ramones or any other band, I'll put on the record and listen to it exactly the way it was recorded. I'll put on the album or the 45. Okay, or today, whatever, stream it, whatever, and listen to it exactly the way it was recorded. So basically, doing that type, to try and sound like them and do like another band, that wasn't what we were aiming after. We had our own unique sound. I mean, so I'll give you something that probably not many people know. I wonder if Jim's out there. Is he listening, you think?
Maybe Mr. Jim is out there, and if he is, shout out to Mr. Jim.
I made him a promise I would never say nothing about this. But Jim, just so you know, not many people know this. Jim, you asked what helped our sound. I'm going to show you something of mine. Jim was a fanatic with his drums, tuning them. If I tell you, in between song, I think he had a key in each pocket. He checked the toms, he checked the snare, always tuning his drums always making sure they sounded the way he wanted them to sound. So I guess that's a plug for Mr. Jim. But, he told me to always keep it on the QT, but I've been keeping it on the QT for probably most of my life. Why not let it out now? I don't know how he is now. For all I know now is he don't even have a key to tune his drums. I have no idea. But back then, he always made sure he was in the way he wanted to be. Now, as far as it goes with me, I have to move away for a second, okay?
Go ahead. Move away. Go ahead.
I'm going to show you something.
He's showing us something, folks.
This is on my board now. This is what I used back then. Okay, and this is what's on my pedal board right now. Okay, exact same fuzz, exact same everything. This is, I believe it's a 1975 Electro Harmonix Big Muff. Okay, I just took it off the floor next to my pedal board. It's too big to fit on the pedal board, but that's what I was using back then, and that's what I'm using now. So that gave us the sound, and I think you all know. Yeah, I was using now for that. Then I was using an Ampeg V4 with a V2 cabinet. Okay, all tube. And listen, can I turn this monitor? Will this
try it. See what happens. You see
right there? Now I'm using that orange Rockaverb 100 MK3, all tube, and the Fame 412 cabinet. This is just a little smaller than the Ampeg, but all tube. That's what I use. Okay, so just to show you what I was using now. But I think that kind of answers your questions about back then with the sound. And let's face it, to me, Glenn had the voice, and it is, that is what it is,
Yeah, for sure. What about when you were strumming? Like, what was your approach to the picking hand, not the fretting hand? Like, you're strumming. Is there anything, I don't know, that you did particularly that maybe was unconventional or something? Because, like I said, when I hear people try to play those songs, they're just never doing it right. It just never seems right to my ear.
I've been told I don't know. I don't want to plug my own self because that's not me.
Yes, I'll stop it. You can
plug no, it's not. But I have a different, my right hand, I know, I got a style to it, I guess. What it is, I don't know. I'm being honest with you, straight up. Remember, you're playing the music we did. A lot of it's in your right hand. You know what I mean? A lot, yeah, sure, it's down strumming and stuff, but a lot of it, is in your right hand. So I guess that's what created some of the sound, I guess,
Now, what's kind of funny, and we've talked about this privately on the phone. We're talking about 138. And the fact, the funny thing about that solo is I don't care, no matter who plays that solo, even when they do it really well, it never, ever sounds exactly like it does on the record.
This boils down to what I said earlier. If you want it to, you could cover a song, and I'll bring up any band, regular rock and roll bands, Led Zeppelin, The Who, whoever you want to bring up. You could cover their song, but you're never going to get it to sound exactly like the record. I don't care what you do. Why? You're not that player, whether it's guitar, bass, drums, keyboard, or vocals. You're not that person. So it'll never sound like that. And it boils down to what I said before. If I want to hear, I don't know, the Shirts, the Dead Boys, whoever, I'm definitely not going to see a cover band that does them. No offense to those guys. I'll just put on the album and I'll hear it exactly the way it was meant to be played, the way they recorded it. And that's what it boils down to at 138. The same exact philosophy. And again, I played it. I did it this way. Can people duplicate it? It's not complicated. Does it sound the same? Probably not. I've had people ask me exactly what I use. I had people drive down here from, I think it was Vermont or Vermont or New Hampshire. I had another V4 with a V4 cabinet that I had sold. They bought that to try and get the same sound I had.
And they couldn't do it.
I don't know. I don't know.
No, but particularly for We Are 138, you were supposed to play rhythm straight through, and instead
you asked me this already, didn't you?
No, I didn't. I didn't.
Okay. Yeah, I know what you're going to say. Yes,
so
I went into the lead.
You tell me.
I went into the lead. I know what you're going to say. I was supposed to play the rhythm straight through like you would on any other recording, but being so used to playing live, I went right into the lead. So we went back and did the rhythm instead of just not to waste time. Because remember, we were on time at that time of the recordings. So we didn't want to go back, even though it would have only been, let's say, 2-3 minutes. But by the time you stop and go back, maybe it would be 10. We figure leave it and I'll just go back and do the rhythm. They punched it in. But you could hear where they punched it in. Today, you would never hear where they punched that in a million years. With the technology today and everything the way it is today, you wouldn't know if I was playing the lead, the rhythm, or whatever, and they punched it in because the technology is so different.
Right. And so if you go back and you listen,
cool.
It is real. I think that is cool.
So,
In a weird way, I think, but here's the funny thing. Now, let's say that you had punched in the lead instead of going straight to the lead from the rhythm part, instead of just punching in the rhythm the way you did. Would that lead, that like golden lead that nobody can replicate, would it have sounded, and obviously I'm not expecting you to know the answer to this, I'm just saying rhetorically speaking, would it have sounded different? Would it have not been
probably.
what it was?
You never know.
You never know.
You never know.
That's
tell you what, if you could get everybody to the studio, we could, the same 4 people that were there, if you could get us there, we could try it and see.
Yeah, it's very possible.
You never know. That's just being a little. I'm just being a little sarcastic with you.
Yes, I know. I get
offended now.
Oh, I'm not offended. I'm the hardest person. I am the hardest person to offend for sure.
Okay. Go ahead.
When you first joined the band, was Glenn, as you were transitioning onto guitar, like as you were jumping in with your guitar and playing, was there ever a time where Glenn was still on the piano and then he kind of slow, like, you know what I mean? Like kind of like this weird intermediary. And then
you mean, was he playing what piano while I was playing guitar?
Right.
Okay. No, to the best of my knowledge, no. Okay. I mean, they meaning that at the time it would have been Manny, Jerry, and Glenn. They would have been working on, let's say, I don't know, I'm just picking a number. Let's say 10 songs or 12 songs. And let's say now I'm coming into the band. They still may have been rehearsing 5 or 6 of those songs where Glenn had to play the piano until I was fully introduced into the band on all the songs. And I would have rehearsed the 5 or 6 or whatever it was.
Right.
But never, no. Was he playing the piano? No, because honestly, 138, Teenagers from Mars, Static Age, TV Casualty, almost all of them, but quite a few of the songs on the album, even if you want to say the Legacy album, because I know that's the album, Glenn put out. Those songs were never being played with him on the keyboard. I mean, live or anything, to the best of my knowledge. He may have played them on the keyboard at home or tried them, but practice, they were never rehearsed that way. They were only rehearsed with the guitar.
Do you remember
period?
why were the, there were songs like, why it's weird that there were something that I've always kind of wondered with other people. Like we've sort of in our Misfits being Misfits nerds, or as you like to call them, groupies, like us Misfits guys who just like wonder about
I
stuff.
never called you a groupie.
You know what I mean though? Like this, yeah. Now I'm breaking balls.
All good.
It's all good. It's all good. No, we're trying to like figure out like why some stuff was dropped and other stuff was not when you joined the band. Like, why was some of the material that they had been previously doing, like, was it because it was more piano centric? Like, did it not translate in a way where it could be played on guitar? Like, why drop that? Did it just not fit the sound of where you guys are going?
I think we were going in a different direction. And again, now you're adding a guitar player. Now you're adding a guitar player. So that was kind of like almost like Glenn's call. We're going to be going here now instead of here. So I guess to me, that's why that stuff was dropped.
Yeah, I would imagine. I mean, because it's just such. I mean, the bands. This is something else that I've noticed too. I don't know how you feel about this, but I feel like every time the personnel changed in that band, like the band, even though it's still the Misfits, it's like a different band. Like it's the same band, but it's a different band because there's something about like the particular combination, the particular chemistry. I've talked about this a lot. That like within the Misfits, there's almost like 5 mini bands within the Misfits because each lineup was doing approaching the stuff in a different way.
Well, you had 5 different drummers at different times and 3 different guitar players. Again, boils down to your previous questions. Different guitar player is going to sound different. Different drummer, it's going to sound different. Even if he's playing the same song. Because remember, some of those songs I played live before other people recorded them, and those people played some of the stuff I recorded and they played live. 2 of the same people playing 2 of the same songs. 2 different people playing 2 of the same songs. 2 different sounds altogether.
You know what Jim said? One thing I do remember Jim saying.
What did he say?
No, he didn't say nothing about you.
He didn't say salute to Pop Blue Ribbon?
No, he said. No, he said. I don't know if it was when he came on the show, but it was something about how he played the songs really fast on the record, or he played the songs faster than maybe he would normally want to, and that he got stuck playing the songs that fast because he played them so fast, like when they were being synthesized or something. I don't know. And
it could be true, but I mean, we were speeding up the pace, but it could be true. Listen, it is what it is. It was recorded the way it was recorded, and that's what it is. You know what I mean?
True. Yes, that is very true. It is what it is. You remember when you guys recorded that stuff live?
Oh, yes.
Apart from
they were overdubs, but yeah,
overdubs and a few backing vocals, but it was mainly live.
Yes.
That we might have talked to this on the last one. I just don't remember. And also, what about again, Return to the Fly? That's all Glenn doing the ooh, ooh.
On the album, it is live. I used to do it.
You
live, I used to do it, but on the album, yeah, it's Glenn.
Wait, did Jerry do it too, or it was just you?
No, I think I just did it live. Jerry might do it now. Well, they don't do it now, but I did it live. But on the album, yeah, Glenn was doing those the backing vocal overdubs.
Wait, so that's so weird. Like, I can't imagine what Return of the Fly would sound like live back then. Like, wow. Like, I didn't even know that was a live song. Like,
maybe one night we're playing, we'll do it.
Hey, that'd be great.
Speaking
of which, I think it's time for a commercial break.
Wait a minute, you got advertisement on here?
Yeah, of course we have an advertisement on here. But first, I want to hear, before we even get there, I want to hear a clip of what you've been cooking up in the lab, in the studio.
Well, I want to hear your clip first.
You want to hear mine? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Wait. You want to hear the Riot stickers? I'm going to talk about Riot stickers right now.
Okay.
You
said you had a surprise.
Yeah. All right. Let's start off with the surprise. Okay. So I have been working on, this is very self-indulgent, but I'm doing it here on the show. And I know Franche's not going to mind. This show is brought to you by 2 sponsors. The first sponsor is Riot Stickers, and we'll do the whole Riot Stickers spiel. Yeah. But this show is also brought to you by a project that I am premiering tomorrow, the trailer for. It's autobiographical. It is a documentary about trying to create art. It's taken from, I keep a video journal with all the recording I do. I have instead of a written journal, I have a video journal, and it's not something that is ever supposed to see the light of day in any way, shape, or form. But as I was putting this other thing together, I realized that there was the entire story of struggling to create a film was present in these journals. And slowly but surely, I started to Frankenstein this thing together. And it's kind of like, if you've ever seen American Movie, the documentary about Mark and what's his face trying to make a movie. That's what this is. This is my version of that. And it's called, all right, ready? It's a long name. It's a mouthful of syllables. It's called Kuyashi Gonzo, Blood Visions and Chaos Magic. And it's about trying to make a feature film amidst the pandemic, death, and unemployment, and not giving up on your dreams and not giving up on trying to make art. And I have the trailer. I'm going to play it super quick, and then we will get right back to the show. So this is the first sponsor. I'm playing it real quick right now. This is the trailer for Kuyashi Gonzo, Blood Visions and Chaos Magic.
Who am I? I am nobody. I'm just a guy who is a big fan of the Misfits. I also am a filmmaker. I have, in a month, a fucking huge shoot coming up. One of the biggest of my life.
I was scared to do it again because the first time I made a movie, it almost didn't come together.
What's so funny? It's just your grandson feeding you baby food.
If I didn't complete this feature film, it would have been the end of the world for me.
You got the shot.
Pain is temporary, film is forever.
The process on one hand feels this impossible mountain to climb. Is this my great downfall?
And you kind of gulp and you go, okay, well, time to climb the next mountain. And that's kind of like what life is. We'll take it a shooting day at a time.
We're gonna get magic?
It's going to be like fucking Magic Johnson.
Leave. Get out. Ah!
The anxiety is unpleasant and uncomfortable. The fear is a very healthy one.
Growing.
This tastes like sand, fucking mud.
No, when in doubt, when you don't know what you're doing, just make everything blue.
I need this humility to be like, maybe you can't do this.
Or red.
Which leads me to go, well, I'm gonna try my goddamn best to.
Or a combination thereof. Just go Suspiria.
Wouldn't be a micro-budget independent film without a hallucination scene, right?
You also throw up some nice chunky chunks. You got no problem eating oatmeal?
Oh, shit! Oh, man, I'm sorry!
You look like fucking Ash.
After today, what percentage would you say we're at? We don't have enough action scenes. I think we're at about half.
This is supposed to be the finale of the film.
You might be right. We might have half the movie.
There's nothing to talk about until there's a movie in the can.
This is your Frank Booth gun.
Shove, 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 punch, punch, punch.
There's a scene waiting to be revealed within the footage.
Take down with the headlock.
Like a block of marble waiting to become a sculpture.
And then no, don't do it or whatever. And then. And I'm spent!
I'm in uncharted territory right here. I don't even know what we're doing. A fork in the road. Isn't this what happened to Dante when he encountered Virgil?
Look, I kind of know. I have an idea.
I feel like a failure. I was not expecting to be where I am at 35.
I've never been so broke in my life.
I'm feeling a lot of self-pity.
This thing could be taken from me at any moment.
And yet, for some reason, I'm happy.
You only fail if you give up.
Tonight, we dined in hell.
This journey is one of the most profound lessons of my life.
All right, there's my trailer. So that's premiering tomorrow. And if you would please make sure to like that video when it goes live at 12 o'clock noon. That's my message, and I'm sticking to it. All right, Frank, I showed you mine, and now it's time to see yours. Let's see
listen,
it.
I took the headphones off. They're sweating, and then I can't even hear myself.
That's fine. You're good. You sound great. You're great.
So basically, listen. So like I said to you earlier, first let me say this: we will have shows coming up. There'll be merchandise. There'll be music. Check us out. Check out the FC Inc. band on Facebook, social media. You know where to go. That's what it'll be. But let me plug some of the guys in the band. I'm going to tell you who I'm playing with. You may know them, you may not. On the drums, on the sticks, we have the thumper, Bam Bam Mike Lisa. All right. On the bottom end, we have the Master Raccoon, Mike Lisa. Don't ask. It's pretty good. On the guitar, we have the Professor, the Consigliere, the Mastra. We call him Mitch. And on vocals, we have the ever-announced Sphinx, Mr. Tony Lombardi, and of course myself. Now, all that being said, like I said, the FC Inc. band. Okay, FC Inc.'s the name of the band in case you want to know. But on social media, you can go to FC Inc. band to see it. Now, I'm going to cue something up. You got to give me a second, and let's hope it works. All right.
All right.
You're only getting a clip.
We're only getting
again. This is rough, just so you know. Bear with me.
I'm bearing with you. I'm so excited. So listen.
Can you hear that? Can you hear that?
Oh, wow.
You want to hear it once more? Give it once more.
Give it once more, but wait. There's something. Wait, hold on. Check for me. Check for me real quick. Check 1 2.
Check 1 2.
Okay, there you go. Okay.
Your mic's good?
Yeah, I think the mic is good. Go ahead. Go again.
Did you hear it? I don't know if you heard it.
I did hear it, but it started to get weird at the end. Little bit.
Maybe because I was lowering the volume at the same time.
Yeah, don't lower the volume. Leave it the way it was before. It was great.
Hold on.
People are stoked. People are loving the energy in it. People are saying, turn it up, crank it up.
Yeah.
The FC Inc. band, baby. All right. Yeah, it started to get a little weird at the end. Not the recording itself, but like it started to, did you lower the volume when you like a little bit at the end?
I don't know. You know, this is a rough thing and it's on my phone. I asked the studio to send it to me. You know what I mean? It's nothing. I'm not giving you anything here.
We heard enough. We got the
last time. I won't touch it.
All right, man. Wow. Wait, so Tony, you know who I think what's his name? Tony what? What's his last name?
Tony the Sphinx Lombardi. Now, let me tell you something. Coincidentally, all of our real last names start with an L. That's really odd. I didn't know that. It's been 4 months, 5 months. I didn't even realize that. You know, so we could have easily called the name. Could have went under the L5 or 5L. But anyway, go ahead.
What you mean, like instead of like the MC5,
it's like you got
NJ5.
First of all, the bass player and the drummer are both named Mike Lisa. Both of them.
That is strange.
Yeah, both of them. Okay. Then myself and the maestro and the concierge is my son Pat, who you know, but we call him Mitch.
Shout out to Pat.
He's kind of like the band leader, if you will. Okay. His last name is L, and my real last name is L, and Tony's last name is L. I thought that was pretty funny.
That is pretty funny.
Yeah.
That is
anyway,
pretty ironic.
For now, FC Inc.
Hey, I love it, man, and I can't wait.
The theater's near you.
We will be. Franche will let us know when there is stuff when there's stuff to promote, and we'll share it on our Lodi page and whatnot, and make sure that that stuff.
You can check it out on social media now.
Okay, we'll put the links down in the description, and we'll make sure everything's.
You know what you're doing.
Yeah, we know what we're doing. And
there you go.
And part of the problem when you know what you're doing is that things get sticky. And you know what else is sticky, Franche? You know what else is sticky? Stickers. Riot stickers. Riot stickers is the other sponsor of this show, of this channel. CEO Sharpie Riot. He has a great company called riotstickers.com. They are the bomb. We go to them for everything that we need.
I'll go to him. We're gonna need stuff.
Okay. I will connect you, and it would be his.
Tell him to call me. I'm going to tell him I know you, and I expect a family discount.
Oh, don't you worry, Franche. I will. His toes would literally curl. His toes will curl. He made this beautiful banner behind me. Riot stickers. They are the best, and they're doing a deal right now. You can get 200 die cut stickers for $69 when you go to riotstickers.com/Frumess. What is a die cut sticker? It's a sticker that is created with a computer guided scalpel to make any kind of shape you want. If you wanted a sticker in the shape of a crimson ghost, or in the shape of Glenn Danzig's head, or in the shape of Mr. Jim's drum set, you could do that with a die cut sticker. That's the whole point. Computer guided scalpels, that'd make a great name for a metal band. Computer guided scalpel. It's pretty badass. So go to riotstickers.com/Frumess. That's FRUMESS. Link is down in the description. We play a 60-second theme song, and we're going to be right back because we're talking with Franche Coma about just like all sorts of stuff. And I'm so glad that he's here, and it's so cool to hear his new project, which is just awesome. I just, even that small snippet sounds incredibly promising. Okay, enough out of me. Let's listen to the Riot Stickers theme song. If I could find it, I'm stalling right now while I find the video and hear it.
Posters and promo cards, there's nothing we can't print for you. From stage backdrops to bass drum heads, we can print on shirts, we can print on hats, we can print on pants. Cheap prices and high quality, quick turnaround times and free shipping. We also offer free artwork support, great customer service, and so much more. We are the bomb. Riotstickers.com. Riot stickers, we are the bomb. Riotstickers.com. Riot stickers, we are the bomb. Riotstickers.com. Riot stickers, we are the bomb.
And that's a promise. Now, you were talking about band leaders. You were talking about how Pat, aka Mitch, is the band leader of the FC Inc. band. I'm kind of curious to know. This is something that I've always sort of, and maybe this changed after you were in the band, but while you're in the band, obviously Glenn is the leader of the band. Glenn is the leader of the Misfits. We know this, right? We know this is whatever. But from an instrumental perspective, when you say band leader, a band leader does not mean that you are the leader of the band. It means that you're kind of like the conductor of those holding the instrument.
The maestro, the conductor, yeah,
exactly. Right, of the instruments. Did Jerry fit that role in the band when you were in the band? Do you recall that at all?
Glenn.
That was Glenn. Okay, interesting. Because I've heard rehearsal later on after you were out of the band, when like Googie was in the band and Doyle was in the band. And it was like Jerry was it seemed like Jerry was kind of being like that kind of maestro guy. So I was always curious to know.
Yeah, no, I wasn't there, so I don't know.
Right. Of course. What do you remember about George Germaine? Remember that guy?
May he rest in peace.
Tell me about him. What do you remember about him?
If people are listening that knew George, and I hope a few specific people are. If you're going to ask him a question about anything, whether it be music, photography, the electronics of an amplifier, or an effect, be prepared for a very, 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 very long conversation. So if you only had 10 minutes, don't make that call. George can elaborate and talk, and you know what? When you left, you may have said, damn, that was a long 2 hours, but you know what? When you were done, you got his whole drift, and he broke it down for you. Very smart man, great guy. I miss him.
Who was he exactly to the Misfits?
Well, he lived across the street from where Jerry's house was, from where we used to rehearse. And just before the Misfits, they were friendly. You know what I mean? Just being on the same block. So, we started playing, and, and he would come around, and, something breaks, we'd call George. We needed pictures. back in the day, the photography wasn't like today. George would come down over rehearsing. We want some shots. That poster, I don't know if you could see it. It started as a Twisted Dream and ended with The World in Heat. The bullet poster. Can you see that over there?
I can't, but I know exactly which poster you're referring to.
That was shot, if I'm not mistaken, on George's camera with what was called back then a motor drive. Today, all the cameras shoot in sequence or 2.5, 3 pictures, even more a second. He had a motor drive on there that shot a roll of film, which that roll of film, I believe, was 36 exposures. And I don't know. I'm just saying, 4 seconds, 3 seconds, hold the button down, done. That's where the picture came from.
Wow. So he was kind of like a facilitator, everyman kind of.
Was there. I mean, he was just there. He was, he helped a lot of people, even people outside the Misfits.
That's really
was
cool.
A great guy.
Listen, obviously I never got to meet him, but from everything I've ever heard about George, sounded like a fascinating guy. And pretty much everybody who I've ever spoke to about him always says similar sentiments just about him as a person.
Yep.
Oh,
yep.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
That's definitely pretty cool. What about this? This is something that's always debated amongst Misfits nerds, the like. So what definitively in your memory from 40 years ago, we got to put all these disclaimers here because again, time is a cruel mistress. Why did the song Feline Nursery change into Spinal Remains?
Something happened where somebody had similar lyrics. And I don't know if they said they were going to sue us or what they were going to do. I don't know what happened. But they were probably copywritten already. So we had to change the lyrics. That's my best recollection of that. The lyrics themselves or the name, it was copywritten or something somewhere else. And so it was just easier to write new lyrics.
That makes sense. That totally makes sense. And around that time, or at least, after that time, I'd say after the Static, we all know the story about the Static Age, the Static, you guys made the record. We're hoping that it would, that Mercury, was it Mercury? Mercury would hopefully put it out and they didn't know what they had. They were like, they didn't want it. Right.
Right. What happened was Mercury came up with a label called Blank, which we had. So basically, we owned the rights to it. So we worked out a deal. They could have the name Blank Records, and we got the studio time, the tapes, and everything. Right.
It's funny. There's that Blank Records like Misfits poster. It's like really iconic. It was actually later used for the Static Age album cover. Everybody does that face, this face.
Right.
What was that about? Why are you guys covering your hands in that photo? Was it just like, hey, let's just try this out? Like, what is the purpose? Are you trying to like cough cool? Like, what is going on? What is going on?
We're not trying to cough cool. It's like this. Why do you have your sunglasses on? I'll answer a question with a question. You have them on because you think they look cool or whatever. Same thing. So we went like this. I don't know. There were probably other things we did that just never made it to the streets, if you will. I don't remember exactly why do we do this.
I think that's a fantastic explanation, though. Yeah, that was it is cool. I think this looks cool. I'm just trying to understand, like, why.
These are the photos that you're on privileged to see that are probably rated X.
Oh my god! Oh my goodness! I can't. Imagination can't even.
Yeah, and I won't even tell you who the main character is.
Oh shit! Oh boy!
You might be talking to him.
Oh man! Oh man!
Stupid stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's sometimes that's how it all unravels.
Yep.
Feels that just it unravels in that kind of way. Now later on, after the whole Static Age thing, you weren't in the band when they decided to they culled some of the songs and turned it into the Bullet EP. You were already on your way out by that time.
Wait, what do you mean?
Were you
Go ahead.
Were you still around when they were decided, okay, we're shelving this record, but we're going to put out 4 of these songs as an EP?
On the Bullet?
Yeah.
I was in the band.
No, I know you were. Of course you were in the band. I'm saying when they were planning on.
No, I was there when we released it. I wish I had the record, all the Bullet singles I had that I gave away. I probably had a case of 50 to 100. Some original, some on black vinyl, some in red, some with the inserts, some without. No, I was still together with the band when all that took place. I remember my friend Billy we were going to Patterson to pick up the paper to do the sleeves and all that, you know? So no, we were together in the band. I was in the band.
Was that always the intended lyric sheet, or was there anything else like that might have been that they were playing around with and they ended up just doing that? It was always going to be that.
As far as I know that.
So the idea being, hey, we can't put out the whole record. We don't have enough money to put out a whole record, so let's just pick 4 songs and put them out as an EP.
Back then, a lot of the bands, when they were starting out, the first thing you did was put out a 45. Remember, our songs were kind of shorter than most, so we could get 4 on there. Other bands may have gotten 2, an A and a B side, with 1 song on each. We had an A and a B with 2 on each, you know, because maybe those 2 songs cumulatively was the same time as somebody else's single song, 1 song.
Wow. What made you decide to put, you had the runoff tape. You had the Static Age runoff tape and you put it in a safety deposit box for years. What made you decide to do something like that? And inadvertently, if you hadn't done that, then we wouldn't have gotten to hear Static Age the way it sounded.
Well,
right?
Supposedly, yes, the tapes, the masters disappeared, whatever. Okay. Where they are, I have no idea. I have my own thoughts, but I won't elaborate on that. But again, it is what it is. Basically, when we recorded, again, the year it wasn't streaming. Everything was vinyl or cassettes, whether it be an EP, an LP, or 45 or cassette. So how do I take something home from the studio? Once it was mastered and all done, can you make me a couple of copies on the cassette? One I still have that was played in my car hundreds of times. And the other one I put and never played it. And that's what we used when the time came. What made me think, I really didn't, it wasn't out of the ordinary for the time. I'm sure Jerry had a cassette, but, you know, who knows what happened to it. You know what I mean? I made sure I put one away. Why? I don't know why. I can't even answer that. But I did. I had one I never played until I gave it to Caroline and back in 94, 95.
I mean, you realize that you're like a hero, right? Like you understand that you're like a hero for doing that.
I guess. Yeah, I guess.
No. Like, don't I guess? Like, you are a hero. Like, we got to hear,
right? We
got to hear like those songs. And correct me, that's a runoff tape. Was that that was the intended? But that was the intended sound of what Static Age would have been.
Right. That was right from you went from believe it was a 16-track mother reel to a 2-track reel to the cassette. It was mastered down to a 2-track reel to reel, and right from there in the studio to that cassette. So it was first generation, if you will.
You know what's amazing about it too is that in so many of the Misfits recordings, like Jerry's bass is so, I don't know what the best way. I'm trying to verbalize the best way to say it. It's like low. It's like down. And in that version, I don't know if that's something that Caroline did or if that's on the runoff tape as well. Jerry's bass sits so high in the mix in the most wonderful way. And it's just kind of amazes me. I kind of almost wish that the rest of their recordings that they would go on to do, that they had left Jerry's bass like that it wasn't so low end and kind of muddled about, and that it was high up the way it is on that tape.
Well, he was using a Rickenbacker back then. And I guess it was set a little more trebly, if you will. And, I know what you're talking about. It is a little different, and then he evolved a little bit, doing different things, still using the Rick, maybe changing pickups. I'm not 100% sure, but again, boils down to previously what you said, kind of, you start changing things up or somebody else does it, change one pickup. The sound's not the same. I had a mini Big Muff. Don't sound like that one. So I don't use it. Exactly the same thing they told me. Don't same technology from back then, because they've re-released this stuff in newer effects. Don't sound the same. So
Now when you were in the band, he used a pick. He had a pick. He wasn't just doing the that he would do later on. He wasn't using his fingers.
You sure about that?
No, I don't know. How would I know? You know better.
No, I thought you knew something. No, Jerry.
I'm asking you.
I could still see him when he was taking his lessons. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, back foot.
Oh, really?
That middle finger every time in between. I could still see his guitar teacher, his bass teacher. I can't remember his name, but he was using his fingers. As far as I know, if he used a pick, I'm shocked, but I don't think so.
Oh, so he was not using the pick. Okay, here's another thing. Maybe you know this, maybe you don't. And again, this is what I've heard. I would know less than you would. But do you remember Jerry didn't always use all 4 strings of the bass? Maybe this was later.
Oh, yeah, later on at one time. Yeah, later on at one time, instead of having an E and A, a D and a G, he had an E and an A, and he made the second 2 an E and an A, the other 2 an E and an A. But then he switched back.
But what? Like
he was only playing on the E and the A at the time. You know, when we did the Static Age stuff, he was going a little bit up and down the neck and using higher strings and stuff. But then at some point, he was just doing the notes on the E and the A. So what the hell? If you break a string, which he broke a lot, he still has another E and another A. So it's pretty good thinking, actually. You know what I mean? You know, if I break an A string, I have to think real fast where I'm going to go if I'm playing single notes. If he's on that E string on the 5th fret and playing an A, he's just got to go down to. He breaks that E. He's just got to go down. He's just got to go up a string, and he's got that same A.
Especially, if you're doing all the stuff yourself, I know you guys had Bill Kanj, right? He was kind of like he was like a roadie kind of guy, right? Like he wasn't a tech. I'm not sure if Billy could still turn on a light switch. He may have just learned how to do that. He's going to kill me because I know he's watching. But listen, shout out to Bill Kanj for can I just quickly say one thing? Of all the people who, if I had to pick who I wanted a Misfits book from, like someone to write about the band, the Misfits.
Yeah,
if I wanted Bill, hands on, you said, Jeff, you could have one book from one guy. That's not like Glenn and Jerry and Doyle or whoever. I would want it to be, Bill would be my number one choice. I want to hear what that dude has to say.
I could tell you this. He was actually better. He was pretty good though, Billy. If something was not working, he knew where to look. I'm just teasing him a little bit. He knew where to look and what to do. There were others that didn't. But anyway, he was there all the time. We were all friends. We're still friends. I saw Billy Saturday. I was with him Saturday. We're still friends.
Awesome. That's awesome. Yep. Shout out to Bill. Shout out. We tip our hat to Bill. What was I going to ask you about? I'm trying to remember what.
Where's your list?
I have my list. I'm looking at it, but I'm like, I don't know what I'm jumping around. All right, let's talk real quick. How about this? Let's talk about the 2 excursions that you did, like the 2 big excursions that you did with the band. You did. Oh, well, we didn't talk about the fire either. Let's first tell me about what it was like going to play Detroit. Why are you venturing out to, if you're a New York City band, right? We talked about how you were a New York City band. Why are you venturing out to Detroit for these shows? What do you remember about that?
To get exposure. I mean, you need to get exposure in other places. Same thing. Why did the Dead Boys come from Cleveland to New York? It's exactly the same. That's twice I mentioned their name in a good way. But I mean, you got to play elsewhere,
True. Was it a perilous journey?
It was all right. It was good. I can't complain.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool.
It had its moments.
That's cool. That's nice.
There were shots fired at us.
Shots fired? What do you mean shots were fired? What does that mean?
Well, we had a kind of like a step van, like a UPS van with all the equipment and us. So after we played one show, the first night, it was hot. I believe it was warm. Well, we had the door open in the back anyway. Yeah, it was hot. I was driving, and Jerry says to me, I heard the noise. I thought they were throwing like firecrackers or something out the window. Jerry said, I think we're being shot at. Remember, we were very controversial. You're talking about Kennedy, all stuff like that, a bullet and what have you. I got something to say. I raped your mother today, whatever. You know what I mean? How the lyrics were. So Jerry said, I think we're being shot at. I looked at him. Let's shut the back door. So we pulled the door down. Now, were they really shooting? I don't know, but something was being fired.
Can I offer an alternative theory as to from hearing what you just told me? Here's what if they saw if you had the back door open because it was so hot in there, and you said you had all the equipment in the car. Is it possible that maybe they were just like, oh shit, there's a van full of equipment?
Yeah, it would have been. It's an alternative theory, but the fact of the matter is, something was being done, something was going off, and we shut the door. You're right. That's a good theory, actually, Jeff. I'm pretty impressed. I never thought of that.
Thank you. I thought it was a good theory too.
About the music and stuff like that, but it could have been, hey, there's a van full of equipment, and we were young. You got some 30-year-olds, let's say, and we're 20, 21, 22.
Sure.
What the hell, look at them, So, but they never followed us anywhere. So,
no, that's good. I'm glad to know. So when you first joined, or when you were relatively new to the band, you used to practice at Manny's house until a fire broke out, right?
Yeah, and then shortly after, right, yes.
So what was it like? What was the contrast like? What was it like practicing at Manny's house versus practicing at Jerry's house? Was there any difference?
Night and day. Manny's house was like practicing in the basement. It was a basement, it was a basement. There was the drums, small PA, and our two amps. Down here is, I don't know, 15 by 30. That was probably 8 by 8. Jerry's, we had, we made stuff in the garage. So, it was kind of like set up to practice. It was big. We even had a stage. Night and day. No comparison whatsoever.
That sounds like night and day.
The bullet poster was taken on that stage in Jerry's house, at Jerry's garage where we practiced.
Right.
On Jerry's stage.
Right. So that's done, right? As later on, it would be known as the pit. They call it the pit.
Whatever.
So when we were talking on the phone one day, you mentioned, I was asking, it was like, when you were down there in Manny's basement, maybe it was when we were doing the Manny tribute thing, just about, that you guys literally had to be like facing each other. You guys had to be, you guys were really
almost like a circle. Manny was on the drums and we were like right there. Yeah, we kind of were facing each other. Yeah, more or less.
So does that help when you're trying to, like, musicians, when they're playing, when you guys are all playing, you got to have some kind of eye contact, right? To like know when the changes are, or to like
if you look at down here, you could see the whole studio, the drums and all. I'm usually standing right here. I'll often walk over to there just to see what, when we're rehearsing, to see what else is going on or what have you. They don't come this side because I'm usually always over there. You want to hear. Yeah, I don't know. It just happens. When you're rehearsing, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Maybe get some feedback or somebody give you a sign or whatever. Maybe you're making a mistake and they say, no, not you made it, whatever.
And how did you hear? What was your reaction when there was a fire? Like when you heard that there was a fire, like it was.
I got woken up at 6 a.m. So I think they were throwing a rock at my upstairs window, Glenn, Jerry, and Manny, to wake me up. I went outside and I opened the window. What's going on? You got to come out. There was a fire. And, Manny's house caught fire. And so, we all lost our equipment. And straight up, Manny got a new set of drums. So, we lost Jerry and I lost our amps. We didn't have any guitars there. We lost the amps, the heads and the cabinets. We were able to salvage. I believe Doyle used the cabinet. We were able to salvage my cabinet, and I had it for a while, then gave it to Doyle. I even think Doyle took the head as is. You know what I mean? But he probably took it, he probably ripped it all apart and rebuilt the whole head. But we lost, for all intents and purposes, I had to go to buy another head and cabinet. And if you want to laugh, my friend Mike, who passed away not too long ago.
R.I.P. to Mike.
Yep. He used to tease me because that head and cabinet was bought at Manny's in New York. And he would say, Frank, bought at Manny's, burnt at Manny's, bought at Manny's, burnt at Manny's. And it was true.
I just want to take a quick moment just to say that Franche is talking about Mike Morance, a.k.a. Ashley Morance, a.k.a. Mike Marino, who just passed away. R.I.P. to Mike. His brother, Chris, is in Morning Noise. And Mike was in a band with Franche after Franche left the Misfits. They were in a band for a brief period called Active Ingredients, and we'll be talking about that and Mike's music at a later show, and kind of tribute to Mike, who recently passed away, who was a genius, a musical genius, and I love his Active Ingredients stuff. And it's a crime. You know what the crime is? The crime is that he did not put out more of that music, or that there was not more of it has been put out. And I hope that some sort of retrospective does come out in the future. So just a brief moment for Mike, and this is for you. Just want to say that.
I have 23 songs. I have 23 songs, 23 takes of various songs of Mike and I.
Really? Of Active Ingredients stuff? Or
No,
just different stuff.
That was done after it was done. No, 23 songs, 23 takes of various songs that Mike and I did together before he got sick.
Oh, I know. You want to know what? I know what that is. Believe it or not, I actually know what this is. Are you surprised that I know what that is?
Tell me what it is first.
That was from another project called Franche. Am I correct?
Well, I don't know if that was going to be the name or not, but is that what?
I think that was going to be the name. Was going to be the name. Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know. But it was him and I and two other musicians.
Yeah.
And
you got to put that should see the light of day. I'd like to hear what that sounded like. What did that sound like? Give me a hint as to what it sounded like. What did it sound like?
Different.
That's not a good descriptor, Franche. That's not a good description. Was it punky? Did it have like a new wave feel? Was Mike singing?
Talking about Mike now isn't good for me.
Okay, I'm so sorry. Let's move on. So you and Manny and the band, you guys went up to Toronto for a show. That was a long drive for two shows
in the snow.
That's crazy for
in a blizzard.
So you were in a blizzard driving 10 hours across the border. And what happened to you?
We had 10 hours. A couple of things happened. And things always seem to happen when I'm at the helm.
Really?
So I was driving. First, I think it was before we crossed the border, we kind of got stuck. I don't know what we were trying to do. Remember, we had Jerry's mother's station wagon with a U-Haul with the equipment. And I did something, but I think we kind of blew her engine. We found out later on we really screwed up her engine. That was one. The second thing was at the border, when we had to go through customs and all that, they want to know how much money you have worth of equipment. Me, like an idiot, should have said $100. I'm shouting out $3,000, $30,000, whatever. Now you got to leave a bond at the border for the amount of equipment you have. I pretty much thought Jerry and Glenn were going to run me over with the car and the U-Haul, but Glenn talked us out of that, and we only had to leave a little bit of money.
Was Glenn good at that sort of stuff? He was able to kind of.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't know if it was Glenn or Jerry, but they did it. They definitely did. Don't listen to him. He don't know what he's talking about.
What were those guys like together? What was that like?
Listen, we were friends. It was good. There wasn't much animosity. I mean, we all hung out too. You know what I mean?
I have to imagine, like, when those guys split apart when they split apart, but like the fact that they were in the band together for so long and did, it takes a great effort to do what you guys did. Like it really does, especially back then, especially with the lack of technology that there is today. So like it's almost like you have to do like 4 times the effort, right? Like to do anything, to get anything done. Even if it's literally, you think about like how you could like, oh, let me email that to you. Like then there was an email. You take a copy, you had to walk into someone's house, right? Like everything required effort. So it's kind of amazing that those two, just sort of, I guess they had to have made a pretty friggin' great team to keep it together the way that they did for as long as they did and accomplish what they accomplished. All the stuff that, I'm talking about the original, 77, 83. I mean, it's not Whew, that's not easy stuff. So you get into Canada and you get to the venue.
The show was canceled. That you want to know what else happened. That's it. The show was canceled.
It's crazy though. Like, to drive all that way.
They sent us a telegram 6 hours earlier. I remember Glenn or me, we all said, we had a 10-hour drive. You sent it out 6 hours ago?
The promoter told you that.
When we knocked on the door.
Oh my God. Oh my God. And I've heard now when I spoke to Manny, when I spoke to Manny years ago, when I came to visit him and I sat down with him, he said, I asked him, he said, we got there and there was just that you ended up doing a show. You did end up doing the show. The show got salvaged. But he said that there was like 10 people. And that was,
there weren't a lot of people because Devo canceled for whatever reason. I remember the B girls were there because I was hanging out with them. Again, they were just starting off. Few people. The beer up there was Black Label beer, which was disgusting beer. Worse than Mr. Jim's Pabst Blue Ribbon. Although a lot of people drink Pabst Blue Ribbon today. Worse. Black Label. Jim probably drank that though. Mr.
Jim gets a hard time for Frank for just liking Pabst.
I have to tease him. We've been friends a long time. He can give it back. It's no problem.
Of course.
Some of the things only he knows what I'm talking about.
I do know what you're talking about, though. In this particular case, I do know what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
I am in on this joke. I am.
Huh?
I said I am in on this joke.
Yeah. But the beer was awful. But we hung out. We played 2 shows both nights.
So I'd say, listen, you made a good.
You had a good time. We were there. People or not, you may as well play. We spent the money to get up there. We had the place to stay. So what the hell? Why not do the shows?
But Manny said, he was like, that was the moment when I was like, this is not what I want to do because we drove 10 hours. There was like only a couple people. I'm out. This isn't for me. That's what he said.
I left shortly after that too. But you know what? As I look back on it, you're kind of immature almost at that age, real seriously. And you had to realize, and you kind of, shit's going to happen. You know what I mean? And you should have just said, oh, well, and moved on. I don't think it justified him leaving the band or me leaving the band. You know what I mean? At that time. Okay. Yeah. So, the show got canceled. We played. We met some people. I became a little extra friendly with one of the girls from the B girls. We hung out, whatever. So it wasn't so bad. I guess, it sucked the show got canceled, but we were there. Make the best of it. But again, I can say that now. I wouldn't have said it back then.
Right. But that's like, that's the thing. It's like you're young and you're having an adventure and you just out doing it and just making the most of it.
Right.
It's funny. You mentioned the B girls. That I believe, what's her name from the B girls? She was playing. The B girls were still playing around very, very recently. I don't know if they stopped. She was in another band called New York Junk with Joe.
The main girl, I can't remember her name. She was with
Cynthia.
I believe it was. She was with
Vaders. Vaders. Yeah. She was his girlfriend.
Yes.
But not when he not later on, earlier on. Did you see the Dead Boys back then in New York?
I was there before I was in the Misfits when they played at CB's. In fact, I spoke with Cheetah. I was just joining the Misfits. In fact, they were playing up here 2-3 years ago when we were going and the show got canceled. I said, I wonder if he remembers me. It was so long ago. But yeah, I saw him at CB's. Oh my God. I don't know, 7. I can't remember the year before the Misfits. I was just starting out with them. And, back then we all used to just go and hang out. As long as you could get into New York, not for nothing. If we weren't doing something or something wasn't going on, 5 out of 7 nights a week, we were in Manhattan. That's where we were. Whether it was related to the Misfits or not, or just going out, going to see bands or what have you.
That's awesome. And you saw, the Dead Boys were an insane band. Like they were incredible band.
Yeah. Dead Boys Television, Richard Hell, Patti Smith, Gang of 4. the adverts, the shirts, a lot of bands.
The
Talking Heads when they were just starting off. Of course, the Ramones. You know,
I heard. I don't remember where I heard, but I heard that Jerry and Glenn particularly had an affinity for the adverts. That was like a big band with you guys.
I like that. I like the adverts. I still do.
New Church, great song.
Yep.
One Chord Wonders, great song. Great band. Yep. I think there's some
Glenn turned me on to them.
Glenn did.
Yeah.
I feel like that. I remember hearing that somewhere. Listen, we're winding down here. Let's take a couple of questions from the audience. We've had a lot of people watching, a lot of eyeballs. You know, the problem with doing comments in the middle when you have somebody on, you don't want to interrupt the conversation, the flow of conversation. It's better to wait until the end. So if we were on an airplane, I would say we're circling our descent, right? We're circling our final descent and whatnot. So let's take some questions from the audience. So if anybody has a question for Jim, I will screen the questions. And if Jim, Franche,
my name's not Jim. Don't mix me up with Mr. Jim. What are you doing? Holy God, they're gonna think I have a full head of hair. Everybody. Holy God!
Oh my God! Call yourself a fucking Misfits fan? I can't even tell Franche Coma from Mr. Jim. There's something wrong with me.
I would never tune my drums if I was Mr. Jim. Are you kidding?
All right, hold on. We got some questions here. Let's see. Okay, Telescope is asking this question. Question one. When is the next time Franche Coma is having a mail-in signing? I would like to get some items autographed. And two, is that an OP amp big muff fuzz? And I'm going to say that you already answered that question. You already told us what that was, the second question.
It's an Electro Harmonics big muff fuzz. What does he mean OP? What do you mean by OP?
I don't know. And the answer to the first question.
He can mail me. Most of these fans, you can mail me something anytime. I'll sign it for you. If you're looking for a big mail, and just get in touch with me on social media, and I'll get you the correct place to send it. I get stuff all the time from all over the world.
That's
and
really
cool. It's not a big deal. No worries.
Right on. That's awesome. All right. Rocco Foxtrot says, favorite memory of your time with the Misfits?
Favorite memory of my time with the Misfits? Well, I would say Max's was really cool to play. But one night we played with Richard Hell up at the show place in Dover. And, of course, he was the headliner. But we blew him off the stage. And that was really cool. I literally fell off the stage also that night. I jumped on a table, not realizing it was a pedestal table where people were sitting. It didn't have four legs. It was a pedestal. So the table went down. I went down with it. But I didn't miss a note. But that was a really cool, really fond memory that night.
Wait, hold on. That's an insane image. The idea that you're on a stage. How high was the stage?
If you want to laugh, if you want to hear the story where you could laugh, let Billy Cams tell you. He was there.
Okay. I'll have to ask Bill.
Ask Bill.
If you're listening, you are. This is my open invitation to Bill that if he wants to come on the show and talk about the Misfits, I would love. It would be my absolute pleasure to have Bill on to talk to him about anything that he would like to talk about related to the Misfits.
But that was a really good time. The shows at Max's were great. 2 shows a night. You did a 10 and 12. You meet a lot of people. They're always cool. You never knew who was going to be in the audience. Trust me. Besides the regular people. So it was all cool. But that night I remember well. Place was packed.
I'm going to another question. We got lots of questions populating here. Favorite Static Age song that you recorded?
Favorite Static Age? I like Bullet and I like Teenagers. I like them all actually, but Teenagers.
What's your favorite to play?
Favorite to play? I like to play Teenagers. I could play them all, but I like Return of the Fly. I like the different ones, the not so popular ones. Yeah.
I like Come Back.
I mean, hybrid. You come back to Hybrid Moments. You know, Las Caress. You know, I know those are the popular ones. You know.
All right. How about this? If you're going to introduce someone here, I'm sorry, I'm stealing a question, even though I've had all the questions tonight. If you were going to introduce someone to the Misfits with a Static Age song, what Static Age song would you introduce them to the Misfits with? Like the idea of like, this represents the band. Like what Static Age song?
I probably would just play 138. That'll say it all for them.
Interesting choice. Dan says 322. Dan says, thanks for signing my Static Age promo poster through the mail, Franche.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, we have a lot of thank yous here, and I'll post them, but I want to get to the questions because G Child says you're my favorite Misfits guitarist. Jody Ramone, show regular Jody Ramone, who's always in the comments. He says, Franche, what is your favorite Misfits song that you didn't underline, did not play guitar on?
That I didn't play guitar on, so that would be post and pre me.
Yeah.
Well, there are songs I played guitar on, but I just didn't record. You know what I mean? So Children in Heat's a pretty good song. Horror Business is a pretty good song. I also like Cough Cool.
Man, that's crazy that you played
guitar. And I got to tell you the truth. You know, The Walk Among Us, I like the whole album. It's great stuff.
It is. It really is. All right, Zach says... All right, no, this is the same question. I'm not going to, sorry, this question was already asked. We have Ace Von Johnson is here.
My buddy Ace, listen, you see this hat here? Milers. My buddy Ace, he lost a dear friend. And for all you people out there, I'm going to make a plug. These are the best dogs on earth. You'll never find a better companion. And look at this.
Yeah, hold it up to the screen better.
I don't like to bring it up because I know it's a sad subject because it's sad for me too. But this hat is from my buddy Ace. Okay? It says, Mayless Pit Pals. You'll never find a better animal, more loving animal. Rescue your dogs. Rescue them. They need your help.
I agree.
The owners before are the ones that ruin the dogs.
100%. 100%. And Ace, what the Ace's actual comment is, no question, but want to say what a great episode. You both rule and love that hat. Heart question. Well, Ace will be back soon because
Ace, show him the bandana. Ask him where I got the bandana from.
Ace, where did he get the bandana from? That's what he wants to know.
That's another great guitar player you're talking to right there.
I know. Ace is my friend. Ace is my friend, and Ace has been on. Ace and I have been doing a series with. He's been my co-host when we talk with John Christ about his time in Danzig and stuff. So we'll be seeing Ace sooner than later. I'm very, very certain. So Ace, we'll talk. Ace, I'll text you. We have Frank Licata Jr. is here, and he says, or ask Sal B about the jump off stage.
I don't know. Maybe he was there. I don't remember.
For those of you,
maybe he was in the audience, but Billy was working with us.
It's possible. It's possible. Sal B used to be around. Sal B lived on Grove Street.
Tell Ace, we'll talk to you soon, Ace.
Yes, talk to you soon. Sal B was around Grove Street for many, many, many years, and he finally, I think he moved down to Florida. I don't think he's in
Florida. Yeah, he's in Florida.
Stephen Nash says, no, we already answered that. Guys, you're asking questions that he already answered. What gear did you use in the studio when recording Static Age? He
may have just came on and didn't hear it.
I think so. Biz, a longtime listener to the show, Biz says, just want to say great interview, and Franche, you're a great guest.
Thank you.
People, this was a very good episode. A lot of people are really happy right now. I'm seeing we got a lot of.
They're asking me to do Law and Order.
Sorry, I think so. I think
they're going to ask me to do Law and Order and have another career.
Absolutely, I do. I really, really do. And listen, I'm going to put it out there one more time. Do we have any other questions? We got one. Hold on. Let's see, guys. Now is the time. Ask your questions because we're going to wrap this up. Steve says, thanks, Franche, for the great music. Another question from Jody Ramone. Jody Ramone says, is the Gibson Explorer still a preferred weapon of choice for Franche?
Yes, there's one right behind me. There's two right behind me. There's also a Marvin Explorer, who's a friend of mine. Another plug for Keith Horn, who makes Marvin guitars. Boutique guitar shop, handmade by one person. Marvin Guitars out in California. My friend Keith Horn.
Pat Licata, aka Mitch, says, what's on the center of the fan?
FC Inc. logo. Look, you missed that, Jeff.
My eyes, my microscope eyes, I can really see.
Look,
I can't see anything.
You can't see that far?
I can't see my poor eyes.
Look at this. How's this look?
Look, look at the merchandising. Yes. FC Inc. Look at the merchandise. Look, guys, these guys have their own fans. Whoa, what a double pun.
That was good. We have our own fans. We'll see at the back. There'll be merchandise in the back table. They'll be selling fans. No,
it's a double entendre. Fans and fans. You guys have to
circulate the air when we practice. There's air conditioning, but it gets hot with all the amps.
G Child says, Static Age changed my life forever and for better. Thank you. Oh, here's someone who's always on the channel. This is Slash Man. He's always here. He says, finally got my chat working. Amazing show, guys. Can Franche tell? Oh, here's an interesting question. Actually, maybe Franche can answer. I don't think Franche was around yet when this happened, or at least he wasn't in the band. He might have been around.
So what do you mean about the first Crimson Ghost?
First Crimson Ghost merchandise.
If I remember correctly.
Say that again.
Buttons.
Okay. So it was buttons.
Correctly. Don't quote me. I'm going back. I don't know exactly because I had left the band when all that was starting up.
Right. We will never quote you about that. Although I will tell you this, from a nerdy Misfits nerdy perspective, we figured out that they found that Crimson Ghost came from a Mad magazine. It was in a Mad magazine or something, and they saw that
magazine. Yeah, it was out there. Some movie from 1949. Whatever. Listen, who made it popular? That's the bottom line.
We know that.
Hallelujah.
That's true. Hallelujah is right. 322 Dan says, may have been asked and answered before I made it on here. Would you guys get on stage and jam some songs with the original? Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm sure. I mean, why? I don't know.
Well, basically, before the first Misfits show at Prudential in 19, Doyle was on tour. I was going up there and practicing with Jerry and my other good friend, AC Slade, just to help them out. You know what I mean? It would have to. Yes. Yeah, sure. I would definitely. Yeah.
Makes sense. Totally makes sense. That's really cool that you guys were rehearsing and whatnot.
To play with them is one thing. To play Misfits songs with my band is another thing. You know what I mean?
Sure, for sure. Question: did you get a hold? You said to get a hold of you on social media to contact you for mail-ins. Which social is the best for you?
The guy who wants to sign stuff.
Who wants signed stuff? What works best?
Go to Franche Coma on Instagram. Send me a private message. I'll send him the info. Or he could go to the FC Inc. band. Go to me personally because he wants stuff from the Misfits. That's fine. He's sending me Misfits stuff, correct?
I would imagine so.
Just tell me to go to Franche Coma on Instagram or Facebook and just send me a private message. That'll be quickest and easiest.
We have John Steele is in the chat, and he's saying, not a question, but I posted.
That's Tony Spinks' friend.
Yes.
Isn't it?
That's what he's saying.
God. He's also friends with the singer from Morning Noise, Robbie Bloodshed. My night just got ruined. No, I'm only joking. Go ahead. I'm only kidding.
No, John Steele says, when I posted earlier the connection between my first band with Tony and Mike Lisa to them now playing with Koma, Steele, Heim connection. So it's a lot of connections there. He's referring to John of Doom as well. Those guys are all in the band, the Voice of Doom.
Yeah, they played a lot. He wrote some lyrics that said the Voice of Doom. I told him to get rid of him. I don't want to hear that name no more. Move on. That was the past. This is the present. I love to bust their chops, especially Tony's. And I know he's Tony's friend, so I got to bust his chops.
You got to bust his chops.
And plus, he's friends with Robbie. It's like a win-win situation.
Yeah. It's a win.
I like to bust. Go ahead.
Jody Ramone says, okay, this is a variation of the same question, but it's slightly different. And
this is a good question.
This is a good question. It is.
I like playing Angel Fuck and Attitude also. Some kind of hate's good too. So, yeah. Okay. Angel Fuck. That was one of the first songs I played. When I came out at Eddie's Lounge, when we only did that short set after the fire at Manny's house, when I was introduced, Angel Fuck, I believe, was the first song I played on stage.
Do you remember anything from that night, from that show? That was an incredible set.
We did, they did like 5 or 6 songs, and then I came out and did another 5 or 6. He introduced me as the guitar player.
And that was because you just didn't know the songs.
Well, I just joined the band, X amount of weeks earlier. We were just working on them. So remember, like I told you earlier, he was adding in new songs to play on the guitar. They still did some of the, the Cough Cool and She, which we didn't do on guitar yet. That was one of the ones that carried over She.
Right.
So that's why.
Love She.
Good song.
Zach wants to know what happened to Jerry's mom's station wagon. We need to know as soon as possible. ASAP. What happened to it?
I'm pretty sure Jerry said I blew the engine. So I don't know how we got home, but we did.
We won't tell anybody.
Everybody knows. I put in the snow. It was a blizzard. It wasn't a snowstorm. And Zach's from Canada. That's why he's out. Oh, that might be a different Zach. It was feet of snow that I went in. 2-wheel. We didn't have all these all-wheel drive cars back then like today. So that was pretty funny now that I think about it.
That is pretty funny. Amy is here. Amy is a longtime supporter and live. She's a longtime listener of the show. And she says, "Hey, Franche. Hey, Frumess. I love the Static Age album. Love your work, Franche. Skulls." Amy is awesome.
Cool.
Thank you for the comment, Amy. Let's see here. Frank Licata Jr. says that he's glad that you have pants on. That's what.
How does he know I have pants on? Tell him to go do something. Tell him to go fix a boiler.
I feel like if anybody's gonna know, maybe he would know. He might know.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. Stephen Nash wants to know, Franche, do you own an original Cough Cool 7-inch single?
I do.
Oh my God. So basically you could put a down payment on a house.
I also own the original Bullet stuff too. I wish I had more, but I do.
Well, it's good that you at least held on to 1 and 1, right? Like, I mean, could have been worse. Could have had, crazy white boy.
Go ahead.
No. Tell me your story, and then I'll.
My son, Frankie, who keeps asking those questions. I was selling a few things, including that 71 Les Paul one time. Don't sell it, he tells me. Don't sell it. So I didn't sell it. Then I realized why he don't want me to sell it. A friend of mine says, Frank, you know why they don't want you to sell the stuff? Your kids? I'm like, why? Because when you go, they'll get it, and then they can sell it. I said, you're right. So I'm selling everything at some point. Be ready. It's coming. Just so you know.
Frank Jr., he's got you. He's got you there, man. He's got you. You're in trouble.
Ask this guy. Let's see what's the question.
You gotta stay settled. This is a comment from a longtime listener of the show, Crazy White and supporter. Crazy White Boy says from down in Maryland. He says, Franche fucking rules. Straight up New Jersey. Man, I really miss living in New Jersey. He just wanted to let you know that.
Okay, that's cool.
Felipe says, I am well entertained. Appreciate the time to do all of this for us. The comments, they don't friggin' stop.
You're welcome. Everybody, you're welcome.
I'm not going to ask Franche to say that because that's not something I think Franche wants to say. Samaria says, what is Angel Fuck supposed to be about? Is it political?
I don't know. I'll have to look into the lyrics a little deeper. Sorry, I don't know off the top of my head.
Frank, Franche, would you mind? Would it be okay if I interjected here and offered?
Go ahead. Okay. Some of the fans and the people know more than me, or have a better idea. I don't know, but go ahead. Yeah, absolutely. We
did a couple episodes, by the way, for anybody who's watching this. We sat and we tried to decipher what the fuck Glenn Danzig is singing about in these lyrics. I did a couple episodes with Robbie Bloodshed and Russell from TV Casualty, and we were trying to figure out what the hell Glenn is talking about. And I think we did Angel Fuck, and I think we determined that going down on a fire plug, Angel Fuck is about a prostitute, potentially. It's
about a girl for sure. It's about a woman. It's about a woman.
There you go.
Definitely about a woman.
Player. There you go. WS is here. Winston Smith. Is there a question? He's out. This is a great question from longtime listener and supporter of the show. Winston Smith asks, is there a question that you wish someone would ask?
Ask, I don't know. Whatever they ask, if I can answer it, I'm going to answer it. So, no, I mean, I'm open to anything. I'm game.
Okay, he's game.
I don't know. That's a good question, but I don't have the answer.
Good question.
It is. I don't have the answer.
Rue Morgue is here. Rue Morgue is one. Rue Morgue has been here from the beginning. He's been listening to the show for 4 years, and he's just been there. He is a loyal, loving fan of the Misfits and all things Danzig, Misfits, Samhain, and this, that. And he has a message for you. He says, "Thank you, Franche. Looking forward to hearing FC Inc. and hope to see you back here on the show. Stay safe and cough cool." That's what.
Likewise.
Monsieur. What is this? Monsieur LeBlanc. Monsieur LeBlanc. Hi, Franche. On what street neighborhood of Lodi exactly did you guys take the pictures from the Static Age era where we see you fooling around outside near an old factory or something like that?
It wasn't in Lodi. It was in Hackensack, New Jersey.
Talk about X-rated photo.
Oh, you saw that one? That's great.
I've seen that one.
That's what I was talking about.
One. I think I sent that, but I think you didn't have that one. I sent it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know which one. That's a hilarious photo.
Hackensack, New Jersey.
That is a hilarious photo.
A lot of those photos by the factories and stuff, unless the tower, there were these two smokestacks in the background, that's Lodi. All the other ones were in Hackensack, New Jersey. I zoomed in on some of those and got as close as I can, and you could see the United Jersey emblem on the building from United Jersey used to be a bank. You could see some of the old stuff. So all that was Hackensack.
Huh.
And Billy Cange would shot those photos.
And Billy Cange, again, Billy Cange. All right, Rue is asking, what is the first song that you learned to play? Rue, do you mean Misfit song or just song in general? Why don't you just tell us both? Give us the answer to both of those if you can remember.
The first Misfit song would have been Angel Fuck. That's when we came out with those songs. First song I learned to play, I think it was Fire by Jimi Hendrix.
There you go. Fire by Jimi Hendrix. That's cool. We already talked about the static. Rewind the episode if you want to learn about the Static Age master tapes being stored in the deposit storage. We talked about that previously, and I said it a little while ago, and I'll say
what he's not getting here is the deposit storage was me. I think he's thinking they were in a vault, like, you know what I mean? Like in a special building. No, they were in my safety deposit box personally, if that answers your question.
And as I said before, I'm going to say it again, I'm blowing a little smoke up his ass, but he deserves it. He is a hero for what he did. He preserved history for all of us fans that we love this music. If it was not for Franche Coma, then you would not have Static Age as it's heard. He is a hero. Thank you. Irina is here. Irina is from Finland, and she says it was great to meet you. Fun interview. So,
likewise. I remember meeting them when they came up.
Irina's great. Zach, I think this is the guy from Canada. What does Franche know about Teenagers from Mars German box set?
It's probably a bootleg. There is none.
There's your answer.
Guaranteed. 100%.
Okay, I don't know if you're going to want to. I'm going to put this one up. But you may not want to answer it. You may or you may not. Maybe it's a little controversial. I'm just preemptively saying that before I do. Slashman X is saying, what is Franche's response to those Static Age outtakes being leaked and bootlegged? What do you think about that?
People have nothing better to do with their lives, and they don't know how to make money, go get a job and make a living. So they rather bootleg stuff that other people did so they can make money on it. It's all bullshit, and it shouldn't be out there, and it shouldn't be allowed. I'm totally against all that stuff.
Yeah, there you go. That's all Franche Coma has to say about it.
And they'll always be out there because, like I said, this is what people do. They want to reap the rewards of other people, which is like, it's like me coming out with a Jeff Frumess show. Why would I do that? Call it the same thing.
Better not.
You know what I mean? I'll go to your advertisement, your sponsors, and say, hey, want to sponsor me? Why would I do that? But it's the same thing. Am I right?
Yes,
it's the same thing. I'm going to bootleg and rip off your show. No, you're doing it to do it for you for whatever reason, financially or not financially. These people are doing it because they want to reap the rewards of what we did on themselves. Go make your own music and put it out there. Half of them don't even know what a note is on a guitar. That pisses me off. No offense to the person that asked it.
If one day Franche is wearing sunglasses and puts on a hat and goes,
you'll know
hey,
what I'm doing.
To the Frumess show. Welcome to the Frumess show. This is
really.
I would.
Don't worry. Once your children get a little older, I'm going to bribe them with a single, a 45.
That they'll go for it. They'll go for it. You know what my son said? I got to tell you, my son is really into Metallica right now. And he knows I'm a big Misfits fan, and just to get my goat, just to annoy me. He's like, "Hey, Dad, Metallica rules. Misfits suck." And I have to go, son, listen up here. Do you know who the number one Misfits fan was? Cliff Burton. Okay, yeah. Cliff fucking Burton. Because he loves all the Metallica songs, right? And I'm like, I'm happy that he's just into anything. He likes the Misfits too. He's just trying to get my goat, and he's trying to break my balls. But I think it's so funny that he's like, he said, he wants to make his band better than the band that I like. But I mean, I like Metallica too. But it's like, dude, like, don't you even know? Like Cliff Burton, like all those guys love the Misfits, so that doesn't really work. Ari Thomas, I think you already answered this, but he says, what does Franche think Walk Among Us, he's asking you about 12 Hits from Hell sessions would have sounded like with, this is an interesting question. What does Franche think Walk Among Us or the 12 Hits from Hell sessions would have sounded like with him on guitar?
I have one word, different. I mean, it would have been different.
That's your favorite word, I think. You love that word.
Well, it's not that I like the word, but the facts are the facts, I mean, it's two different musicians playing this. The only thing we'd have in common, and Doyle's my friend and all, but is that we play the guitar. Now look at his guitar and what he uses. Look at what I use. It's different. It's going to sound different, even if we plugged into the same exact amps. His style, my style, two difference. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be different.
That reminds me. Now I remember what I wanted to ask you before, and I totally forgot. Actually, I do have one more question. What do you remember? What is your memory? I mean, obviously he was running around. What is your memory of Doyle before, like when you were in the band and before, like, what do you remember of Doyle? What was Doyle like back then?
You have to realize, I know Jerry's family. We know each other since we're young kids. So as young as Jerry and I were before the Misfits, Doyle was younger than that. So like he was there. He was Jerry's younger brother. He was around, I mean, he was picking up on stuff. He wanted to then play the guitar and all that stuff. I mean, I remember everything, from when he graduated with pink hair. What a controversy, it was in the papers and all that. It was so cool, but, I remember everything. I mean, we were together a long time, we've been all friends a long time.
Was he like, would he carry gear and stuff to the shows? Was he always tagging along to like the early shows?
I don't think he was carrying gear to the shows when he was that young. No, from my recollection, no.
Gotcha. Mick C says, longtime listener, first time comment. Well, welcome to the comment section. Franche is awesome. Thank you for the raddest Misfits song. By the way, I have the Cracked magazine with the Crimson Ghost. Okay, so it was Cracked magazine. Amy says, I'm so starstruck. I don't know what to ask Franche. All of my questions have been answered. Well, if you think of something, Amy, listen, guys, we really got to wrap you got a little time, or we got to wrap this up, right? Oh, he's fine. All right, we'll keep going. Amy, think of something. We'll get to the bottom of the comment.
Tell her just to send me a private message on one of the social media sites if she thinks of anything.
Okay, if you think of
it, you don't have to wait for this. It's fine.
If something comes to your mind, reach out to Franche. He will answer your questions. Privately. Slash says, well said. You guys deserve to be paid. The bootleg being the first release for those takes the stream out of an official release. He's right. Yep. Well said. I like this one. Dan asks, does Franche have any questions for Jeff? Do you have any questions for me? Do you?
No, not really. No offense.
I have no offense taken. No offense taken. I just thought that was funny. I have somebody, Telescope is asking, do you have a copy of Harpies in the Night? If so, could you describe the song to us.
I don't think anybody has a copy of Harpies in the Night. I mean, it didn't come out on any vinyl.
Right.
You know, Manny had some tapes. I don't know if I think it was on there, but we could not discuss where those tapes are right now.
Right. Yeah, Pat.
I'm getting texts on my phone. People want to hear the whole song that we recorded with FC Inc., but that's not going to happen.
Okay.
No.
All right. Listen, that's your choice. I'm not, but listen, you created,
right
listen,
that's a rough take that I asked the studio to email to me. And, you know, it's not ready. Don't worry, you'll hear it soon enough in full.
Someone wants to know if there's any original live footage of you and the Misfits playing live.
I don't know, but if there is, let me know. I don't know of any, but if there is, let me know. Some people say they have some stuff, but I don't know.
Who knows?
The only one who could have did that back then was George Germaine, and he was shooting with a 35 millimeter, not a video. Video and camcorders hadn't really hit the streets yet, hadn't really come out. You know what I mean? So you would have been doing it with like an 8 or a Super 8 millimeter camera, which I don't know if they even had sound.
Right. Chris Marino is here, and he says, "Love you, my second big brother. Great interview."
Thanks, man. Love you too. I wish I could elaborate a little more on your brother, but it's not right now. Can't do it.
Totally
someday you'll all hear the music. I promise you that too.
That's good. We're glad to hear that. G Child wants to know how you came up with your stage name.
Oh boy, people ask me this all the time. I personally don't really remember. I didn't make it up. I think Glenn did or Jerry did. There's so many stories. Jerry said a story once. We used to call him Frenchie and we turned it to Franchi. I don't know about that one. I really don't have that answer. I'm being honest with you.
Well,
if you notice, everybody kept their real first name. They gave me a completely different one, just to add a twist to it, probably to bust my chops, most likely. So I didn't make it up. I'm pretty sure Glenn came up with that name.
What kind of glass? Someone's asking what type. Jody Ramone wants to know what type of glasses did Franche wear during his photo shoot of Static Age.
I wish I had those glasses. Those are old school, like I call them punk rock glasses, long and skinny like this. They were so dark, you couldn't play with them because I tried a couple of times. I had to take them off, you know, because sometimes you do have to look, you know what I mean, at what you're doing or whatever. They were so dark. We got them in the city, downtown. I don't remember exactly where or what the name was. They were like a regular pair of sunglasses, very tight around the ears, all the same color all the way through.
By the way,
I want a pair.
I think it's hilarious that there's like these photos of you, like you're wearing like a penguin tuxedo jacket with the sleeves cut off.
No, it's a tail. It's not a penguin. It's a tails. I might be wearing one in FC Inc. I just had one custom made.
Hell yeah! I'm not laughing. No, it's great. It's freaking great. I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because it's amazing. That's like awesome.
It was a tails. You know, I'll tell you what. We used to again when we were playing. Some of the things I got were like from like any of the jackets or stuff, not my leather, were like from secondhand stores and stuff. And you would find these clothes from the 20s and 30s, you know, so that tux tail was old, but I cut it up, you know, that's so funny.
Well, you know, at least it got some more, you know, is it still, it's not still around. It's probably,
I wish it was. My leather jacket is.
You know, because that would be, you know what, that would go really well in, and that would be admired in like you know how they have that punk rock museum in Las Vegas. I feel like that.
Yep.
That would
I have my leather jacket with the same buttons on it that were on it back in '78.
Really? Wow.
You never saw it? You never saw it?
No, I don't think I did. I don't think I did.
I got to go get it. You want
go get it? I'll fill in the dead air. Go ahead. Go get it.
Yeah.
He's going to show us his jacket. I just want to take a moment and say and thank Franche again for not only coming on the show, but like, you know, staying here a little extra longer with us and just answering questions and stuff. And I mean, this has been really friggin' awesome. I really do appreciate it. It's amazing because Franche, we tried to do the show like a year and a half ago, I want to say, and we had a lot of technical difficulties, and it was such a bummer because so many people tuned in. And then like we waited and waited. And then like finally the stars aligned. And now here we are doing the show, and it has gone better than I ever could have imagined. Like this is exactly the type of show I was hoping to get. We've heard some new music from Franche's new band, FC Inc. It's going to be everybody's last name begins with an L. Like that's crazy. Like how did that happen? No, this is great. Now, the only way we're going to top this is we have to have Franche and we have to get Mr. Jim on at the same time. We got to get both of them. Okay. Pat is asking, when can I come on the show? More importantly, Pat, you're always welcome on this show. You know, so we used to do call-in shows, Pat, and people used to call in all the time. I don't know where you were. You should have totally done that. Back. He's back. And what does he have with him? Oh,
let me give you more light.
He's going to give us more light. Oh, wow. Look at that thing, man.
That's mine, as is. If you could see.
Hold on. You know what? I'm going to disappear myself so you can have the full screen and you show us. Ready? Hold on.
Yeah. There you go. As is. Still shot. Perfecto. Same buttons that are on here as what was on here. Exactly how I wore it. Got the bat, the skull on the cross. Excuse me. So you get a kick out of that.
That is
pretty cool. Really Whoa, crazy. Jeff, you switched sides.
How did that happen?
The other one.
Oh, there I am.
Oh my God!
There we go.
It's just you. There you go. It's pretty cool. You saw it, right?
Yeah. No, that's crazy, man. It's awesome.
It's
freaking awesome. That's awesome.
I still have that.
I'm glad, those things, those are like antique heirlooms. You can't like a good leather lasts forever, man. They really do.
I got newer stuff. The slot stuff is top of the line stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Let me see if we have guys. We're approaching the 2-hour mark. So let's listen. First of all, I want to say to you, you are welcome on the show at any time. And when there's more FC Inc. to
absolutely
disseminate, and Pat was saying, Pat can come. Pat, you come back with Pat.
He'll take the whole show. He won't let me talk if he comes.
I'll moderate. I'll make sure Pat stays in his box.
He's going to be in charge. That's right. He thinks he's the consigliere.
Hey, actually, you want to know something? The I'm going to butcher that word. I can't because I can't.
I know it's a little tongue twisting.
That word you just said, I'm not going to even try to say it. That's there's always sometimes it's like in The Godfather, he's a Jew, right?
Yep.
The
yeah, I got it.
Yeah. Okay, guys, I think we're going to wrap this up, and I just want to say,
go ahead. Then I'll say a couple of things.
No. You go. You go ahead. You say something.
So, just to touch, I apologize talking about my friend Mike or Ashley's a little tough, but Chris, we'll always be brothers, and your brother will be missed forever. But someday, soon, like I said, I have a lot of stuff that he and I did. Oh, I hit the mute button. Are we good still?
No, I can hear you.
I muted you. How'd I mute you?
No, you didn't mute me.
I can't hear you, Jeff.
Because you probably muted you on your end. You muted. I can hear I'm fine. I can hear you, and people can hear me. No, you gotta do something on your end.
It's on you. Hello.
You muted yourself. Yes, I'm talking.
Okay.
Yes,
okay,
but you.
Anyway,
ahead, keep talking.
Someday you'll hear some of the stuff, but I want to tell you guys for now, FC Inc. We're on social media, FC Inc. Band. You'll be seeing us soon. It was great. All of you guys, I appreciate your questions, and God bless.
Okay, 1 second. You still can't hear me, can you? You can't hear me. You can't hear me talking? Okay. What? You wait 1 second. He's no. Just wait. Just wait 1 second. Wait 1 second. I'm going to roll us out and then we'll cut it. Okay. So just wait 1 second. He knows.
Do what you got to do.
All right. Good. He understands. All right. I want to thank Frank for Franche for coming on. I mean, he just friggin' crushed it. This was so friggin' great. He'll definitely be back in the future. I live for episodes like this. I really, really do. This was a magnum episode. We've never had so many listeners retain, like we've had between 80 to 90 people across platforms for the duration of these 2 hours, which is really good for me, you know, especially I don't really do much promotion here. But this was an episode where we kind of like put it out there. So make sure to follow FC Inc. Everything's gonna be down in the in the description, okay? And you make sure to go follow and keep posted when their releases come out and when their shows are happening. So as we say here, like always, we say peace, hair grease, and we will see you next time here on the Frumess channel. Make sure to leave a comment and make sure, most importantly, hey, everybody, make sure, please go like the video. Kuyashi Gonzo, the trailer, go like that video right now. Go give that video a like. The trailer premieres tomorrow. It's super friggin' important, okay? Super friggin' important. So make sure that you go like that trailer. Okay, bye.